corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
You never know what kind of weather Mother Nature has planned. Be ready in a 4x4 or all-wheel drive from Denny Menhold Toyota. Shop a great selection of used trucks and sport utilities and the area's best selection of used Toyotas and Toyota certified pre-owned. Get financing as low as 4.99% APR for up to 60 months on certified pre-owned, including RAV4s. See us at Denny Menhold Toyota or DennyMenholdToyota.com. 1887 per 1,000 finance, regardless of down. Offers with qualified credit. Expires 1/5/26.
Hey, volleyball families, get ready to serve up some fun at the Wautiki Spike-tacular Volleyball Tournament, February 13th through 15th at the Box Elder Event Center. Experience high-energy matches, glow-in-the-dark games Friday night, and exciting play all weekend long. Compete in 14U, 16U, or 18U divisions for a shot at the trophy. Stay and play with 25% off rooms at Courtyard by Marriott and water park passes included. Register now at thebox.live.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Jim Harbaugh announced today that Justin Herbert will not play in Sunday's regular season finale at Denver, with the Chargers no longer in contention for the AFC West Championship.
He's got bruises that need to heal. We're going on the road, first round, and we'll get ourselves ready for that.
Trey Lance will get the start instead. The Broncos can clinch the 1 seed in the AFC with a victory. Baltimore Ravens head coach John Harbaugh gave an update on the status of Lamar Jackson for Sunday's winner-take-all game against the Steelers.
Well, it's to be determined. Still he's coming off a very serious injury, and he's working at it. Saw him in here today working at it, so I think we'll know a lot more on Wednesday.
Kansas City Chiefs head coach Andy Reid said today that he has no plans to retire after this season. College football, Marcus Freeman has agreed to a restructured contract to remain the head coach at Notre Dame. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, here we go. Ready to roll and wrap up 2025. Are you ready? I am ready. Glad you're here. The Nate Brown Show is back. Happy New Year. We are almost there. 2026 is upon us. Let's put in some work next couple of days, all right? I'll be here today, tomorrow. South Dakota Sports Talk Show is back on Fox Sports Radio. Welcome in. It is always a great day in South Dakota. Glad you're here. The Nate Brown Show live across the state. KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. Hope you had a solid weekend. Hope you had a long break there for Christmas. Now we're back at it. I know we got to show up. Let's turn it up a little bit. We got some good stuff tonight, so let's get going. Guest lineup looks like this tonight. Henry McKenna is going to drop by, national NFL writer for Fox Sports. He is on tonight. Henry McKenna in as we're down to the last week of the regular season, all the playoff scenarios and that whole thing. Couple of big games left, no doubt. Henry McKenna's on FoxSports.com, national NFL writer. We'll go to the FCS. There's a lot of talk about the FCS over the Christmas break. There was stuff being thrown around, and I'm going to throw some more stuff out. We'll get to Sam Herder tonight, though. He's in, FCS senior analyst for Hero of Sports. Sam Herder's on tonight. We'll go live to Notre Dame. John Bryce is in, national college football writer, footballscoop.com. Take a look at the playoff, the big games coming up New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. A lot of discussion around the Michigan hiring of Kyle Whittingham out of Utah. That was interesting. John Bryce is on, footballscoop.com, national writer. And then we've got a Reaction Monday full hour with Rob Kagron back from New York City. A little Christmas in New York. Rob Kagron's in, national radio host and Nate Brown Show guest host. a Reaction Monday. Rob Kegraw next hour, full hour with our guest host, Rob. The Nate Brown Show inviting you on. Let's do this. Last shows of 2025, 605-720-1067. That's our number. If you forgot it over the Christmas break, I know took a few days off. 605-720-1067. That's the Pizza Ranch studio hotline powered by the Pizza Ranch. Stop by this week. Location in Brandon, also East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Your Pizza Ranch, 2 locations in Rapid City. Home of everyone's favorite buffet is the Pizza Ranch. Also, hit us on the text line today if you want to join the conversation. Might as well make it happen, even if you're not working, you're chilling. I hope you're not working. I do. I hope that's the case. 605-720-1067. Lock that number in. It's the Barron's Wilson text line. One more time. Text the show, answers to the question of the day, all the good stuff, 605-720-1067. The Nate Brown Show back, and I have realized something. I've just realized it for the first time. I've been just waiting. I don't know what's happened to me over the last 3 months. I don't know why I haven't said much. I've just been guarded. I've been nervous. I haven't said much. I haven't wanted to spout off at all. You haven't heard me say hardly anything on this program. But I have realized now, over the last week and just over the last day, today, that my Denver Broncos are on the verge of getting the 1 seed this weekend in Denver. My Denver Broncos are on the verge of being the 1 seed in the AFC. And so, I mean, you tell me, I couldn't tell you. I'm talking about it with my wife. I'm talking about it with my guy, Matt Kearney here. He hasn't demolished the Broncos season yet. He told me they're going to the Super Bowl. Why did I just do that? That's what Kearney told me, but I've just pumped the brakes. I haven't had big segments. I haven't had the Broncos are this, the Broncos are that. Why haven't I done that over the past month or so? How could I not see this? The Broncos are on the verge of going 14-3. Justin Herbert's now going to sit on Sunday, so he's going to get set. It doesn't matter for the Chargers anymore. It does matter for the Broncos. My Denver Broncos, your Denver Broncos, have all of a sudden become the number 1 seed in the AFC. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody thought it would happen except for Sparky down in Denver, Mr. Sean Payton. He kept telling everybody, this is the team, this is the team. Yet I have a feeling, as I start the show today, many of you are going to tell me the reason I haven't said anything is because you still think the Broncos are going to go down in a heap. You still think the Broncos are the luckiest number 1 seed in the history of the NFL. That's what you're all telling me. And maybe that's just subconsciously why I haven't said anything. I haven't gone down that road. I haven't thought playoffs. Deep playoffs. I haven't thought number 1 seed. And I've all of a sudden come to the realization this afternoon on a Monday before New Year's that finally the Denver Broncos could and should get the number 1 seed on Sunday. And why does that mean something? This isn't just getting into the playoffs. I mean, I've come surprised on this. This is the number 1 seed. This is a first-round bye. This is every game running through Denver before the Super Bowl. I mean, it's absolutely massive. And all of a sudden just sneaks up on me and punches me. And it says, the Denver Broncos are going to be at home throughout the entire playoffs. Now, they have to win Sunday. So if you want to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's, they have to win Sunday. But you just heard it today. Coach Harbaugh says no Justin Herbert for the Chargers, so they're kind of mailing it in. They're going to be on the road in the playoffs anyway in the first round, so the Chargers are like, hey, let's get healthy, we're good. So the Broncos are going to go up against Trey Lance. And now if they blow it, then what are you going to tell me when I come back next Monday, a week from today? It'll be an obvious meltdown. Let's just take one thing at a time. The Broncos should get the number 1 seed, and so I want to ask you, the audience, tonight, why have I not been aware of how far the Broncos could go, how good the Broncos are? And it must be the last 9 years, maybe that's a good idea. Look at the last 9 years. You haven't had any discussion at all. It's been AFC West domination by the Chiefs. The Broncos a total afterthought. So they go from like not that good to all of a sudden the number one seed in the AFC, and I didn't see it coming. And so I've been just waiting cautiously, figuring out, is this team really going to get there? And then the close wins, and they keep on, they even beat the Chiefs by just a touchdown in Kansas City. That was a little dicey on Christmas night. And so the Broncos have told me, we're good, but nobody, and I mean nobody, even in this area, has put the Denver Broncos at the top of the AFC. Well, that's where they are. And so I ask you this question today. How far will my Denver Broncos go? Help me with some therapy tonight. Matt Kearney has set us up for ultimate success. So I know where he's at. I want to know where the football fans are at. You watch the games. You see this. I'm not. Now I'm emotionally invested, so I can't be unbiased on this. It's very difficult for me to take a look objectively. Yeah, where are the Broncos going to be? If they get a number one seed, a first-round bye, home games in Denver, that's where they win. They don't lose very often in Denver. Where do the Broncos go in the playoffs? I had some of you already last week say they're going to be like the Vikings last year. Well, now, I don't buy that anymore because the Broncos may finish 14-3 this Sunday. They're going to be the number one seed. They're not going to fall off the end of the map. The Vikings went from winning the NFC North to falling off and having to play the Rams in the first round on the road. So it was a fast fall by losing one game to the Lions last year. Broncos just win Sunday. And how far do they go? That's my question today. I want some objective, not Broncos haters today. I want some objective Broncos fans because I look at the AFC and I'm not really nervous about that many teams at all. Chiefs are gone. We love that. And I'm looking across. The Bills, I don't know. Jaguars look a little dicey to me because I just saw them play pretty tough in Denver last week. So the Jaguars, but they're still the Jaguars having to come back and beat Denver again. What about the Patriots? They got to come all the way to Denver. So I'm just telling you run through the AFC, it's up for grabs. And the Broncos are going to have the number one seed. Can you believe it? I have realized for the first time they're finally there. The Broncos are hang on. Win Sunday, they're the number one seed. And that puts them in way better position than the Minnesota Vikings of last year. You tell me on the text line, I'd love to hear from you. How far do you think the Broncos go? Okay? Matt Kearney's already said he thinks they're going to the Super Bowl. And I can't bring myself to that. I might get there over the next week or so. I'm already trying to tell you the AFC's wide open. They might get there. It would be the absolute stunning story of the NFL. I mean, it would be an unbelievable. Well, Nate, they made the playoffs last year. Yeah, but it was they barely got in. They got housed in the first round. Nobody expected anything, and now the Broncos go from there to number one seed. That means 2 wins to get into the Super Bowl. How far do the Broncos go? From South Dakota Sports Talk Show, 605-720-1067. That's what I'd like to know from you. 605-720-1067. I will end this show tonight by picking out a winner to our Pizza Ranch for a free buffet. Okay? That's what we're going to serve up in 2026. We're serving up some free buffets to your local Pizza Ranch. Location in Brandon, location East 10th Street in Sioux Falls. You hit us on the text line. We'll do that. Pizza Ranch is going to hit our question of the day as we start 2026. You're going to be able to win some free food, a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch, which we love, just by answering the question of the day. A little partnership to help you guys out. 605-720-1067. If you want to text us your answer tonight, how far do the Broncos go? That's what I'd like to know. We'll serve it up, a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch. Pull out a winner at the end of tonight's show. Let's go to the text line. Listener text, so much for the Broncos doing what the Vikings did last year. Well, I'm with you on that. I am with you. The Broncos, if they win Sunday, are in much better shape than the Vikes last year. Much better shape. That's the huge difference between the Broncos and the Vikings. They're going to have the same record. A great record by the Vikings last year. That last loss to the Lions derailed that playoff run. So Broncos look like they're the Vikings of last year from some of you, and I think it's quite different. As a matter of fact, they get the number 1 seed. It's quite different. Let's go to the text line for a shot at a buffet to the Pizza Ranch tonight on the Nate Brown Show. Question of the day answers. They'll get beat in the second round. I said no Broncos haters tonight. By the way, that would be their first game. So somebody's going to come in off the wild card win, and they're going to come into Denver and knock Denver out in the second round. That would be the first game for the Broncos because they get a first-round bye if they win Sunday. Listener text, all this success, and you still call Sean Payton Sparky. Yes, I do. I can't go away from that. Because he's trying to look for that spark in the offense. The last year with Russell. You know what the story is on that. Let's see. And he benched Russell for Jarrett Stidham. What a spark it was. Listener text, I believe Denver will go to the Super Bowl as well. Book it. Wow. So I've got some interesting responses on the text line tonight. Some of you actually believe in Denver. Listener text, when has Matt Kearney been wrong with your Broncos? Well, let me think. Not very often. This goes all the way back to when the Broncos have been bad. Matt Kearney, the great producer of the Nate Brown Show, I call it the kiss of death because he said they would finish last in the AFC West. And I actually bet a pizza party with our entire listener. We threw a party, and I said, no way they're finishing last. And they did. Now he said they would draft Bo Nix a couple of years ago. No way that's going to happen. And they did. This is unbelievable. Can Matt Kearney be 3 for 3? He says they get to the Super Bowl. What do you say? A couple more coming in. 605-720-1067. Listener text, Broncos get bounced in the AFC Championship. That's interesting. If you want to give me some feedback on that, keep it coming. We'll serve it up. I'll pick out a winner off the text line. We'll grab you for a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch, our local sponsor, home of everyone's favorite buffet. 605-720-1067. Throughout the show, how far will the Denver Broncos go? You know who I'm going to ask that? Our great friend Rob Kegron, who's coming in next hour. Okay, hang on. I want to switch this up really quick. I want to go to the college football side really quick. Then we'll get back to the NFL with Henry McKenna joining us live, FoxSports.com national NFL writer. I want to go to this college landscape out there. So there was a story that came out last week. There was a sports report that came out last week that said in the FCS, the Montana Grizzlies and the Montana State Bobcats have spent $2.2 million on NIL each. So hang on a second. They said Montana and Montana State spent, this is the report, they did their research. Everybody does research these days. They do their research. Montana Grizzlies and Montana State, Montana State's playing in the championship a week from today, they spent $2.2 million on NIL each. And I say on the Nate Brown Show tonight, no way. So this is putting Montana State at a level which some FBS teams aren't at. So the whole report came out of Wyoming, and it said the Wyoming Cowboys, they're spending less than the Montana State and Montana Grizzlies. They're spending less than NIL. There is no way. So let me just ask you, at the FCS level, you think South Dakota State, you think they're spending at those levels? There's no way. Montana and Montana State are good programs. They're not spending $2.2 million each in NIL money. The gap between the FCS and the FBS is big enough. And then you want to talk about FCS programs you think can generate everything they need to and give the players $2.2 million in the football program? That's crazy. That is crazy. But let me go to this. Listener reaction from JD. This is JD on this. He says, even Montana and Montana State fans are laughing about this. They say it isn't close. It can't be. It can't be. I'm telling you right now. There's no way. So you tell me. Do you think that's even possible? I think it's impossible that Montana and Montana State have paid out $2.2 million each. And by the way, you know why I think it's impossible? Montana and Montana State wouldn't pay the same amount to their players. I'm from Montana. I lived there 25 years ago, and I lived there growing up. Montana State or Montana, one of them would have to do more than the other. That's just the way it is. The Grizz or whoever it is would have to do more than the other. So I don't know where this research happened. That's not happening. Montana State, $2.2 million each in NIL money. No way. But you tell me if that's correct. Listener text, question on the Montana stuff. Does their football programs make money? All the Dakota schools lose money when you talk about state subsidies. So, well, I'm not sure if those programs make money. Their crowd support is off the charts. So Montana Grizzlies have the best fan base in FCS football. Montana State's not too far behind. I think you'd put the Montana schools as the best fan base. NDSU used to be really, really good. They're okay. South Dakota State has really grown. But we can't hold a candle to Montana and Montana State fan base. So do they make money? Not much. Let's just say, even if they do, they aren't funneling out $2.2 million to the players. No way at all. Not even close. Let's go to the NFL, jump back into this. How far do my Broncos go? Let's get an objective voice on this. Henry McKenna, national NFL writer. He is with Fox. The NFL on Fox. He's coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Want to do more of what you love and earn cash back doing it? With a Visa Cashback Credit Card from Black Hills Federal Credit Union, it's possible. Earn 1.5% cash back on everyday purchases like gas and groceries, and use it to fund your shoe obsession, vinyl collection, or airline upgrade. Plus, spend $2,000 in your first 90 days and get a $200 cashback bonus. Learn more at bhfcu.com/cashback. Offer subject to credit approval. Other restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
Shop Western South Dakota's best selection of adult beverages for your New Year's party at Mr. Liquor in Rapid City. Save $3 off handles of Absolute Vodka, now $29.99. Save $4 off a 175 of Pendleton, now just $45.99. And when it comes to popping the cork at midnight, Mr. Liquor has your favorite champagnes, from Corbel and Mom's to premium bottles of Dom Perignon or Cristal Brut. Happy New Year from Mr. Liquor South off Catron next to Walmart, or the West Side location on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly clear tonight with a low of 24. Winds out of the west 5 to 10 miles per hour. Daytime highs approaching 51. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Mainly clear skies. Tomorrow night, lows level off around 31. Temperatures well above average Wednesday and Thursday with highs from the low 50s to the mid 50s. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 34.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson, McPherson Auction Company. Today is the final auction of 2025. This is an inventory reduction for Black Hills Exteriors of Rapid City. New building materials, shingles, doors, windows, tools, ladders, aluminum scaffold decking, office furnishings, desks, chairs, and organizers. Couple of cargo trailers and a 2003 Dodge Diesel 4-door long box pickup. Final auction preview today from 3 to 5 at 2507 East St. Patrick Street, Rapid City, South Dakota. For more details and to bid and buy, go to McPhersonAuction.com.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. With today's home values, right now could be a great time to sell your home. The Black Hills housing market is competitive, and I would love to help you get top dollar for your home. I have been selling real estate and attracting buyers in Rapid City for nearly 20 years. When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. If you're thinking of selling your current home, let me put my expertise to work for you. Just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker. List it, sell it, and move on. With me, David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate.
Hey, glad you're here. The Nate Brown Show is on tonight and tomorrow before the new year hits. Let's do it up. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on your drive home on Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're a part of the program. John Bryce coming up from Football Scoop, national college football writer. His take on Michigan hiring Kyle Whittingham and more coming up from South Bend. John Bryce is in. Sam Herder's talking FCS. How much do FCS teams pay in NIL? A report out saying Montana and Montana State are over $2 million each. Give me a break. Sam Herder's coming up. Hero Sports. Let's go to Fox Sports. Henry McKenna's on tonight, national NFL writer. FoxSports.com. Henry, thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Nate. Nice to be here.
I appreciate it, man. Happy New Year to you. Let me ask you a few things. I'll ask you first about my Broncos. So I've been a Broncos fan. People that listen to this show know that. I haven't been cocky this year. I've been cautious. I haven't said anything, Henry. I was like, the Broncos are okay. I guess they're pretty good. And now it's hit me. They win Sunday. Justin Herbert's not going to play. The Broncos win Sunday. They have the number 1 seed. How good do you think the Broncos are as a number 1 seed?
Well, I think anyone as a number 1 seed is dangerous, and I think the Broncos are considerably more dangerous. I think the AFC as a whole, there's a good case for every single one of these playoff teams. Every single one of them could be a Super Bowl contender. Even those AFC North teams, you know, Pittsburgh and Baltimore are going to play in, basically have their own little play-in bracket on Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson are legitimate players in the playoffs. Obviously, you know, how legitimate, we don't know because Lamar's been hurt and Aaron Rodgers is older. But given the sort of parity that we've seen across the AFC, I think every single team in this conference is going to be a legit Super Bowl contender. But given that parity and given that the Broncos have a first-round bye, given that they have Sean Payton, who's been to the Super Bowl, who's won the Super Bowl, I think they've got, you know, a better chance than basically everyone. I mean, I like the Patriots a lot. I like the Buffalo Bills a lot. But it's looking like one of those two teams will be eliminated before the Broncos even play a game, because right now the Patriots are at 2 and right now the Bills are at 7. So it's possible that they face each other in Foxborough in week 1 of the wild card round. But yeah, I mean, I think there's plenty of reason to start getting bullish about the Broncos right now. I have some question marks about Bo Nix. As much as I've seen him improve this year, and I really have, I watch him closely. I watch his film. I listen to what they're saying in the building over there. But, I still have any young quarterback. I just want to see what they're made of in playoff conditions.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you about Bo Nix. Why do you have, a little bit of reservation about a Bo Nix in that scenario?
Well, so here's the good thing about Nix, which is that, he's answered a lot of the developmental questions that we had about him. And I think, in a lot of ways, he's rewritten our expectations of what he can be from a game-to-game basis. He's a really good playmaker. He can use his legs. He can use his arm. He does have a plus arm. He's a good quarterback, and I don't think that many people respected him in part because he was a bit of a surprise to go in the middle of round one where he landed, and to go, at the back end of what is a pretty deep group of first-round quarterbacks. There was so much conversation about Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. We now know that it was quite justified, right? But for Nix to kind of come in on the back end and come in as a surprise, I think a lot of people were skeptical that maybe Sean Payton reached for a guy that had played a lot of college football. But all of those negatives that we kind of thought were working against him, which was that maybe he was a pocket passer and maybe he was, like I just said, he was maybe spent too much time in college because he was waiting for the right moment to strike while it was hot. All that stuff that we perceived as a negative coming out of the draft, we now perceive as a positive coming into, his second year, coming into his own, really, as, one of the best quarterbacks I have him ranked in the top 10 right now among all quarterbacks, given the way that he's playing. So, pocket prowess is important, but just as important is that he knows how to use his athleticism. And just as important as using his athleticism is that he keeps his eyes downfield when he's scrambling out of the pocket to create. And all those college games that he played set him up nicely to, get through the turbulent times of early NFL development. We're still seeing Caleb Williams, the guy who was picked well ahead of Bo Nix, figuring out how to be a more efficient player. The ups and downs of Caleb Williams are far more dramatic than the ones that we see around Bo Nix right now. But Bo Nix looked a lot like Caleb did, last year. So this is all to say, I want to give Nix his credit, but given that we do see a guy who has decision-making, errors crop into his play, and given that the playoffs are the most pressurized, both from a pass rush standpoint, but also from the mere environment of a playoff game, a young quarterback prone occasionally to a mistake, could that ultimately be, a problem for Denver in their attempted run at a Super Bowl? I don't know. That's my reservation.
Henry McKenna on tonight, national NFL writer for Fox Sports. Find him on Twitter. Follow him there at Henry C. McKenna as the last week of the regular season is coming up. I want to ask you, you said you believe in the Bills, or you like the Bills. I watched that yesterday. It's like, man, limp along. I know it was bad weather. It's not an offensive game. Allen misses the throw at the end. He wanted that one back. That's the first time I've seen him get pretty angry. He's just pretty calm and collected. Bills go down yesterday. It just doesn't seem like they have it to me. But as a 7 seed, you say that's a pretty dangerous team.
They are. Look, that one throw was so shocking to me. Someone who watches, like I was saying with, Bo Nix, I watch an absurd amount of film on Josh Allen. And I've been to a bunch of the Bills games this year to cover them. I watched week 1 where they came back against the Ravens down, I think 24 points, right? I watched week 15, I think, when I was in the house at Foxborough when the Bills came back 21-0 against the Patriots. I've seen Josh Allen go on 30, I think it was a 31-something run against the Buccaneers, right? I wasn't in the house that night, but I watched on TV. they are comeback kids. That's what their identity is this year. And that can work for teams. You know, it worked for the Chiefs last year as a team that can win a one-possession game with sustainability. It works this year for the Bears. You know, and just because the Bears lost and the Bills lost this week in close games, it doesn't mean that their identity is wholly shattered. It just means they got to figure out how to set themselves up for success in a better way. When you watch what went wrong for the Bills against the Eagles last night, yesterday afternoon, you see a surprising failure of execution from Josh Allen. That is the most pronounced thing, is that when you run through the film of that, particularly that final drive, but basically throughout the game, you see him missing receivers. You see him scrambling and trying to do too much, particularly with his legs. And then at the end, it's that astonishing, shocking missed throw to Khalil Shakir, who was open. I mean, it was one of the best play designs for a guy in offensive coordinator Joe Brady, who is much maligned both on Sunday and Monday for his play calling and designs, or lack thereof. You know, to his credit, he got Khalil Shakir, who is their most trustworthy receiver right now, most trustworthy pass catcher. He got that guy wide open for the game's most important play, and Josh Allen missed it. I think 99 out of 100 times Josh Allen makes that throw, and this is the one time. So, you know, I know I'm making big excuses for Buffalo, but games on the line right now, you know, it's an AFC playoff game. You get to pick one quarterback to give you a game-winning drive. I'm picking Josh Allen every time, and I think the Bills' defense is going to set the Bills' offense up to be in a one-score game, to be in that situation where Josh Allen can drive for the win. So what they got to do is they got to go into the film and they say, Josh, like, look at how many guys were open. Just go through your progressions, check the ball down when it's there, set your feet when the guy's open, like, take a deep breath. You know, you got out of sorts yesterday. Let's reset. Let's go into, you know, week 18, and really let's focus for the wild card where we got to go beat the Patriots again, just like we did in week 15.
I got to ask you on the NFC side, Henry. NFC's number one seed still up for grabs. You got Seahawks, you got 49ers. Who do you like in the NFC right now?
Similar story. I mean, I like the Rams, but as we discussed when we were talking about the Broncos, you know, a one seed has this incredible power position from a bye standpoint, right? Like, to get a bye right before the playoffs is almost unfair. So if the 49ers get it, I think they're probably the playoff favorite. I don't so much believe in the Seahawks. Like, I do think that when Sam Darnold plays at his worst, and he's like that crazy example of a guy who can go in any given day, he can go off for 4 touchdowns and he can go off for 4 interceptions. But right now he's got it in control where, like, he only goes off for 4 interceptions like 2 times a year, as opposed to when he was with the Jets and it was like half the time. But given that can happen, and it's likely to at one point in the Seahawks run, my question for them is, can their run game and their defense withstand it? Like we saw it to some degree last week against the Panthers, or yesterday against the Panthers, where, you know, Darnold's playing terrible football in the first half. I mean, fumbles and interceptions and turnover-worthy plays. It was bad. But the Seahawks sort of withstood it because their defense made Bryce Young look even worse. And then their running game got the offense sort of back into a rhythm where Darnold could find his confidence in that second half enough for the Seahawks to pull away and all of a sudden sort of make it feel like a rout, which is crazy how poorly he was playing. So, you know, that push and pull, that tug back and forth, that's not as complimentary as you want the football to be. Whereas, like, San Francisco is a team where they're really just setting each other up for success, I think, to some degree. And I know Robert Saleh's defense just let up a lot of points to Chicago, but I like him as a defensive coordinator a lot. I think that he's just super competent in that role. So I like the Rams. for obvious reasons, Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, but in that 6th seed, how dangerous can they be? I'm not so sure. So, maybe if the 49ers eke into that one spot, maybe they become my Super Bowl favorite. We'll see.
We've seen the Rams beat the 49ers earlier this year on the road rather handily as well. Henry McKenna on tonight, national NFL writer. Follow him at Henry C. McKenna and find him at foxsports.com. Henry, good to have you tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Have a nice night.
Thanks a lot. Happy New Year. Henry McKenna, foxsports.com. NFL on Fox, national writer live tonight. All right. So he said my Broncos getting the number 1 seed. That's big. It's huge. The number 1 seed's so big, and he even says the 49ers, if they can get it, he likes that. But he likes the Bills. He likes the Rams, some lower-seeded teams in the AFC and NFC. Listener text coming in, how far will my Broncos go? That's my question of the day. If you haven't heard it yet, there it is. I'm serving up a buffet to the Pizza Ranch. One buffet I'll pull out off the text line winner. We'll contact you at the end of the show. How far will the Broncos go in the playoffs? If they win Sunday, they get the number 1 seed, a first-round bye, and home field throughout. How far do you think the Broncos will go? Super Bowl or not? 605-720-1067. Back with national writer John Bryce, Football Scoop, talking college football on the way.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number 1. So you can always be their number 1. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number 1 hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
This holiday season, Renewal by Andersen wants to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our valued customers. Thank you for choosing us to be part of your home. Whether you're peeking out your window to watch the snow or welcoming friends through your front door, we're honored to be part of your story. Sending warm wishes to you and your loved ones in the hope that 2026 brings you health and happiness. From everyone at Renewal by Andersen, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Are there as many kinds of vehicles as there are kinds of people? We think so. At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we help all kinds of people come together with all kinds of vehicles. With loans made to fit everyone and every ride.
So streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Fox Sports Radio, KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls. Welcome in. Fox Sports Rapid City across the state, the Nate Brown Show live. It's a Reaction Monday. Second hour is packed with Rob Kegron. He's back from New York City. Flew in yesterday just to get back for the Nate Brown Show. It's amazing. Rob Kegron, national radio host and guest host on our Reaction Monday this next hour. Hang on. John Bryce is in before the new year. College football's popping right now. Some great games, I think, coming up New Year's Eve, I think. I'm really interested in Iowa, Vandy. Really interested in that one. Huskers, Utah. Of course, you got the college football playoff coming up New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. John Bryce is all over at footballscoop.com. John, Happy New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year, Nate. Appreciate the opportunity to visit with you and try to help you send out 2025 in style.
I love it. There's a lot of things to hit here, and you guys cover the coaching world so well. I want to start there. Kyle Whittingham to Michigan. What do you think of the fit? Whittingham's 66, signed a new deal. What do you think of the Whittingham to Michigan deal?
Yeah, honestly, I think that Whittingham is probably a little better than Michigan deserves, the way that Michigan has been operated really the majority of this decade. And it's been one scandal after another. It's been one calamity after another. The national championship will be forever tainted. And Kyle Whittingham, as far as I know, and everyone I talked to who's worked with him or knows him well, is a man beyond reproach. His character is as good off the field as his winning percentage is on the field. And so I think despite themselves, the Michigan Wolverines made a good hire. So we'll see. I think that in a lot of ways you have to view this as a bridge hire. You certainly, I don't think you enter into this expecting Kyle Whittingham to last a decade at Michigan, but as a Michigan coach told me this fall, like Sharon Moore was always hired to be fired, and for just a number of different reasons. But I also think that Kyle Whittingham has been hired to be the bridge.
So do you think he hangs on to a bunch of players? What do we think about Whittingham's ability and the transfer portal here? What do you think happens to the Michigan roster?
I think he'll hang on to a large number of players, mostly because, look, he's proven. He's got a long track record. He's got some guys he's put in the NFL through the Utah program. And most of all, Michigan is committing money to him and committing money to the roster and to keeping those players. And so I think because of that, they're not hiring an unknown. He's an unknown as it pertains to coaching in the Big Ten and over in the Midwest and all of that, but he's a known commodity in college football, and I think that helps, and I think that will help. You're going to have some defections. It's just the nature of it. You've had too many guys already opt out of the bowl, and too many players are hearing from other programs, and Michigan has nobody to blame but itself for that. And Kyle Whittingham will do a good job, I think, of holding a large part of that roster together, but he can't make up for the time that these guys have had 2.5 weeks of people whispering in their ears how much they need to get away from Michigan, how much more they can get paid somewhere else, how much quicker they can start, how much more playing time there will be, how much less of a microscope there will be on every single move. So I think because of that, he'll face some challenges, but he'll do a good job of keeping a lot of players intact.
I want to stay in the Big Ten. We're talking to John Bryce one more time in 2025, national writer for footballscoop.com, on Twitter at John D. Bryce1. So there's this South Dakota kid, Lincoln Kienholz. He's the backup QB at Ohio State. Highly regarded, but he didn't beat out Julian Sayin, and Sayin had a huge year. Well, finally, Lincoln Kienholz talked today to the media. He's finally saying, I have talked to Ryan Day and the coaching staff about my future. People are saying he could be looking at transferring. A couple of years left for Lincoln Kienholz. Does Lincoln Kienholz, he said, I want to go to the NFL. I need to play somewhere. What would you say about Kienholz transferring out of Ohio State? Would somebody like Nebraska, Washington, Wisconsin get somebody like that?
Yeah, Nebraska was the first team that came to mind. I'm familiar with Lincoln. Notre Dame made a strong run at recruiting him late in the process and really liked him. And, of course, the Notre Dame GM is now the GM at USC. I don't necessarily think that would be a fit with Mailata, who's set to come back for them, and they like their freshman recruit that they just signed. But I would expect Lincoln to have a robust market, and I can tell you from I've talked with player agents today, the market for a guy like Lincoln, Nate, is going to be seven figures. He will command $1 million payday when he goes, assuming he goes into the portal, and Ohio State would have to pay several $100,000 to keep him. But if he goes onto the open market, just from talking with so many different agents this entire month, so many different player agents at the collegiate level, he will demand a seven-figure pay, or he will command a seven-figure payday.
Yeah, I believe that. So Lincoln Kienholz, he said he hasn't said he's transferring for sure, but he has finally talked about that. He's going to stay with Ohio State. He says it's his duty to stay with Ohio State all the way through the end of this college football playoff, whenever that ends for the Buckeyes. So let's go to Notre Dame, John. Lincoln Riley's hitting them. The Notre Dame USC series is done. Lincoln Riley said that's Notre Dame's fault. What are we talking about?
Yeah, and by the letter of the discussions, he's exactly right. It is Notre Dame's fault. USC made it clear that it was willing to play that game August 29th of next year. It would have been a week 0 game. I'm not sure if USC was demanding that game to be a home game or if they were willing to play it on a neutral site. It was indicated to me that the Trojans were willing to play it on a neutral site. Of course, Notre Dame had said, we'll play them anytime, anywhere, any point in the schedule. And then USC put that forth, and Notre Dame said no. So the fact of the matter is, right now, with USC being in the Big Ten and no longer tethered to the Pac-12 where it needed Notre Dame on its schedule, I would argue, USC doesn't need Notre Dame right now as badly as Notre Dame needs USC. And that's just the fact of the matter that Notre Dame has its schedule alliance with the ACC, which to me is by far the fourth worst of the four power conferences right now. And so with that in mind, Notre Dame needs USC more than USC needs Notre Dame. That's why Notre Dame very quickly pivoted and signed a 2-year deal with BYU. Now, I think in the short term, that benefits Notre Dame. I think next year BYU will probably be a preseason playoff pick, a preseason top 12, top 10 football team. They're going to bring back so many key pieces. They kept their coach Kalani Sitake from going to Penn State. They'll have Bear Bachmeier back at quarterback. They got a number of other key players scheduled to return. They lose some nice skill players, the L.J. Martin kid at running back. I think the Robert kid at wide receiver, the Glasker kid, the linebacker. I love to watch him play. So they lose some pieces, but I expect BYU to be a preseason top 10 team next year. So in the short term, Notre Dame upgrades its schedule. But I think that long-term, USC Notre Dame is great for college football. It has been great for college football, but USC can be a little more selective in when it wants to play Notre Dame. And I understand USC not wanting to. This year, by the time it played in South Bend, they had already flown to Purdue and back, to Illinois and back, and then to South Bend and back. And so that's a lot. Now, USC made the decision to go into the Big Ten, so I'm not crying tears for USC because it has sucky travel, but I understand.
Yeah. Notre Dame USC series over for now. Notre Dame fits BYU in a 2-year schedule. John Bryce on tonight. Last one. Can Alabama knock off Indiana New Year's?
coaches, I'll always defer to people smarter than me, of which there are many. And some college coaches I've talked to really believe that Alabama is going to heat up Fernando Mendoza and make life difficult for them. I ultimately think the difference in this game is Indiana's defense. I think that Indiana will make Alabama so one-dimensional and will probably be able to turn over Ty Simpson in the course of the game. But I think it's a close game, and I think Indiana has to win it in the fourth quarter.
John Bryce in tonight. Always great, man. Enjoy your new year. We'll talk to you again.
Happy New Year, Nate. Hope it's a great one for you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. John Bryce on tonight, South Dakota Sports Talk Show with the national college football writer covering the college football playoff coming up. Footballscoop.com with John Bryce tonight. Let's go to the FCS level. How much do FCS schools pay in NIL? A report out of Wyoming says that Montana and Montana State have paid $2.2 million each. I'm not buying it at all. What does Sam Herder say? He covers the FCS for Hero Sports coming up.
This is the Nate Brown.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
This holiday season, Renewal by Andersen wants to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude. To our valued customers, thank you for choosing us to be part of your home. Whether you're peeking out your window to watch the snow or welcoming friends through your front door, we're honored to be part of your story. Sending warm wishes to you and your loved ones in the hope that 2026 brings you health and happiness. From everyone at Renewal by Andersen, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
glad to have you on board tonight. Thanks for making this show possible in 2025. Happy New Year tomorrow, and then we'll get ready for 2026. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. Appreciate you making us part of your day, answering our question of the day, which is, how far do you think the Denver Broncos will go? If they win Sunday, they have the number 1 seed, and Justin Herbert for the Chargers is going to sit. So I like my Broncos' chances. How far in the playoffs do the Broncos go? If they get the number 1 seed, they get a first-round bye. They're already into the divisional round. They get home games throughout. So that's our question of the day, 605-720-1067. If you can text us tonight on the text line, we'll serve up a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch as our question of the day sponsor tonight. We'll pull it out at the end of the show. Sam Herder is in, FCS senior analyst. National championships 1 week from today. Nashville, Montana State, Illinois State. I'm interested in that. HeroSports.com for the best coverage. A great story out today from his colleague about South Dakota State and the growth and when that thing exploded at SDSU at HeroSports.com. Sam, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Always good to be on. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you. I wanted to touch on that. You guys are doing some series, and I saw the piece on South Dakota State, and if people haven't seen it, go to HeroSports.com. I thought it was a really good breakdown of Justin Sell. He's been there 17 years as the AD, and how he set up South Dakota State, facilities, donations. What did you think of the South Dakota State, I guess, look back and where they're at now?
Yeah, I think it's overall a good read by one of our freelancers, Casey, just about South Dakota State's rise and where they were kind of coming from, to get to where they are now. And, whether it's facilities, fundraising, just all the different small things you need that add up to being a successful Division I athletic department. South Dakota State has done that. And, it's not like they had, especially, looking at the football side of things, it's not like they were coming from a lot of success in the D2 days, and so they really had to build things up. And so, it's a really good look at how they built their athletic department, and how they continue to build things and look toward the future and try to at least position themselves when, as I think Justin Sell had some type of quote about, like, the next 4 or 5 years is going to determine where we're at for the next 25 years, just because it seems like so much change is on the horizon. And so it's a good piece looking back, but also looking ahead at what's in store for South Dakota State in the future.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. It's a good read. HeroSports.com. It's up there on South Dakota State's rise from D2 to the top of the FCS. Now, this new world, there's NIL money on top of the facilities. Normally, you just had to get the nicest facilities, and SDSU had that. I mean, their indoor facility was top-notch. Now you got to get NIL money on top of everything else. I saw this story out of Wyoming. I'm not buying it, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just not buying this from Montana, saying that Montana State have paid out $2.2 million each in NIL money. Do you believe they would be at that level?
It's hard to know for sure. I don't know how they got that number. I don't even know how you can ballpark that, because it's not, it's not like you can FOIA that sort of information. It's not like, coaches' salaries and stuff like that, where you can, dig in and find exactly what the numbers are. So I don't know exactly how they got that. They got that number. Maybe it's a ballpark guess, but at the same time, it could be, it might not all be NIL either. It could be NIL externally, it could be internal NIL, it could be revenue sharing as well. There's Alston payments and cost of attendance as well. Typically, when athletic directors talk now, they don't usually talk, directly about NIL or, other things as well as far as revenue sharing. They usually just say, like, a financial package is kind of how they phrase it now, where there's multiple different components to what type of money that can get into their players' pockets. So, $2.5 million from Montana State. I kind of take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know how you find that number exactly, but at the same time, I think it could be somewhere in that area, just with the support that they have. It could be internal money, external money going to them. And Illinois State, they just got a $2.5 million gift from a former football player that's going to go toward retaining and recruiting players. And so it's not like it's an astronomical number for Montana or Montana State to be in that $2.5 million range.
Okay, so do you think moving forward, programs that are real programs like that in the FCS, if there's this change, Sam, where the Mountain West wants NDSU and whoever, you think you're going to have to get to those types of numbers in NIL money?
Yeah, there's a decent chance of it. I know, I believe Conference USA and maybe even the American have kind of put some things in place where each program has to commit a certain amount of money toward NIL/revenue sharing. And so I think you can see more conferences at the FBS level do that, just to bring the floor up. Bring the bottom up of their conference to make sure everyone is investing at a high level where, the Mountain West says, like, okay, you need to revenue share, $3 million a year across your athletic departments, to be in this conference. I could see those sort of things, coming to fruition in this new age.
Sam Herder on tonight, FCS senior analyst, HeroSports.com. That was an interesting deal. I wouldn't think the Grizz and Bobcats are at that level yet, but let me go to the Bobcats and the national championship. 1 week from today, you'll be in Nashville. Does Illinois State have a shot? What do you see this matchup like?
Yeah, I think Montana State is definitely the favorite in this one, and the 10.5-point spread shows that it's one of the bigger spreads the FCS championship has seen. I think it's the third highest in the last 10 years. Being at negative 10 or minus 10.5 for Montana State, but I think Illinois State has earned the respect to not just crown Montana State right now. We've seen the Redbirds knock off number 1 NDSU, and they've kind of crisscrossed the country, knocking off opponents on the road. So I believe Illinois State at least has the dudes in the trenches, and they have the skill on the outside to make this a really good game. It certainly feels like this is Montana State's year, especially with how they've been building, toward this point, and how Montana State just seems to be putting everything together down the stretch here. And the thing that's been in their way is, South Dakota State or North Dakota State has gotten in their way. Well, somebody already knocked off those two programs for Montana State, so those two teams aren't in the way anymore. So it just does seem like this is Montana State's year, but we also said that last year, and they kind of came out to a clumsy start that ended up costing them against NDSU. So you would expect to probably see a quicker start for Montana State this year compared to last year.
Montana State, Illinois State FCS National Championship next Monday night. For the coverage, Sam Herder's on it, HeroSports.com. Follow him on X if you're not, at Sam Herder FCS. Last one, is there smoke around North Dakota State getting interest from the Mountain West? Do you believe there's smoke?
Yeah, there's definitely smoke, but, how much is that, truthful? Is it half-truth? Is it just, a rumor here that kind of spread like wildfire? And, it's kind of like that game of telephone where someone tells someone something and it's true, but then as you get down the line of 10 more people, it seems to be, a little exaggerated. So who knows? It definitely seems like there is more smoke there when it comes to NDSU going to FBS compared to years past where, you see different people tweeting, some stuff, or you get some text or DM saying, I hear they're close to, signing something and making it official, or, NDSU is reaching out to donors to try to push this over the top. But there's also at NDSU, they're going through a presidential change right now as well. So how does that, impact things? Does that delay things? Usually the final person to sign off on this sort of thing is the university president. And so how does that look for NDSU? So I definitely think there is smoke there. Whether it gets pushed across the finish line, who knows? Because there are so many moving parts when it comes to this. For 2 weeks, it could seem like, hey, this conference and this team, they're moving forward to try to get a deal done, try to find, something that works, but then, they hit some sort of snag where they can't push it across the finish line. So I definitely think there is something there, but whether it's just a little bit of smoke or, it's legit that things are moving in this direction where it's going to happen, it's really hard to know for sure because, like I said, there's so many moving parts, and there's always, nuggets of information that you can hear about that shows that, okay, maybe it isn't going to happen, but then you hear something else that, says, maybe it is happening. So we'll just have to, I guess, pay close attention to see what comes of this.
It is wild, man. There's people throwing out all sorts of stuff. I know this and I know that. North Dakota State's doing this. I don't think we know anything. North Dakota State, could they be getting interest from the Mountain West? People throwing stuff around the past couple of weeks. HeroSports.com for the best coverage of the FCS. It is Sam Herder. Man, I appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, Sam Herder tonight, FCS senior analyst from HeroSports.com. Rob Cagron's ready. He's back, and one more time on a Reaction Monday of 2025 with guest host Rob Cagron. How far does he think my Broncos will really go? That's the question of the day, and we'll start there.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
Text scams continue to rise, and victims who have lost money to these scams continues to increase. Consumers cannot rely on a text message to be truthful. If you receive a message regarding a fine for missing jury duty, your utilities being shut off for non-payment, toll road fines, or you've won a sweepstakes, these are scams designed with an urgency and the need to send money now. Do not respond to these texts, and you should contact Consumer Protection at 800-300-1986. That's 800-300-1986 for the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division.
You never know what kind of weather Mother Nature has planned. Be ready in a 4x4 or all-wheel drive from Denny Menlo Toyota. Shop a great selection of used trucks and sport utilities and the area's best selection of used Toyotas and Toyota certified pre-owned. Get financing as low as 4.99% APR for up to 60 months on certified pre-owned, including RAV4s. See us at Denny Menlo Toyota or DennyMenloToyota.com. 1887 per 1,000 finance, regardless of down. Offers with qualified credit. Expires 1/5/26.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Kickoff just got bigger. Murphy's Pub and Grill is back with NFL Sunday Ticket. That means every game, every team, every Sunday. Right here at your favorite bar. Cheer loud, eat big, and score with Murphy's game day specials on food and drinks. The atmosphere, electric. The staff, legendary. The screens, everywhere. This season, don't just watch football. Experience it. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, baby. Murphy's Pub and Grill, your new football headquarters. Visit murphyspubandgrill.com.
Imagine this, a bank that is committed to you, that understands your needs, your values, and your growth. No more settling for the status quo. Pioneer Bank and Trust offers tailored solutions, innovative services, and a team of experts dedicated to your success. You deserve more attention and more support from your bank. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
At Renewal by Andersen, 2025 has been an incredible year. As the holiday season approaches, they wanted to take a moment to express their heartfelt gratitude to their valued customers. Thank you for choosing Renewal by Andersen to be a part of your homes, your stories, and your lives. It's been an honor to help make your homes more beautiful and comfortable. You've allowed Renewal by Andersen to be a part of your family gatherings, your quiet moments by the window, and your cherished memories. Thank you so much for letting them serve you. This holiday season, Renewal by Andersen wants to send their warmest wishes to you and your loved ones. May our hearts be filled with joy, your homes with laughter, and your lives with love. Wishing you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and may 2026 bring you health, happiness, and even more wonderful moments. From everyone at Renewal by Andersen, thank you for making 2025 a year to remember, and they look forward to continuing this journey with you. Merry Christmas. Wishing you and your family a Happy New Year from Renewal by Andersen.
One more time. This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy New Year. We are here tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. I'm glad you're here, whatever you're up to today. We appreciate you. The Nate Brown Show live. Rob Kagron is back one more time in 2025. He's back from his Christmas trip to New York City. Happy New Year to Rob Kagron, our guest host on a Reaction Monday. The trip to New York City, I saw snow in Central Park. Did you go sledding? Was it a white Christmas?
Well, we actually didn't have any snow for Christmas itself. All of the snow came like the night after, so like the night of the 26th into the 27th.
Which nobody wants then, because you're traveling and
Oh, yeah.
that.
I mean, nobody's really going anywhere on Christmas Day, although snow on Christmas isn't the greatest thing in New York because people usually are at least getting in their cars, going to see
My
family
goodness.
members, relatives, friends. That part would be tricky, but going on the weekend right after Christmas it's a big travel day all around the country. New York City is going to see like 15 million people traveling through the airports. Let's just say it didn't go very well for this guy getting back home to Rapid City over the weekend.
You are back for the
here.
Nate Brown Show.
Yes.
And he's a gamer tonight. And I'm glad you're here because we got a lot to discuss. My question of the day tonight for Rob Kagron and for everyone else. I'm serving up a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch, by the way. So I'm going to give you a free buffet tonight at the Pizza Ranch. They're a new partner for the question of the day heading into 2026. We're going to send out a free buffet if you send in your answer on the text line, 605-720-1067. That's how you hit us on the Barron's Wilson text line. Question of the day, if my Broncos get the number 1 seed, and it sure looks like they should. I haven't been spouting off about the Broncos, and I think you know this, Rob. I've been pretty cautious. I've been pretty careful with Sparky, throwing us into the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year and all that. I haven't been doing that. But I just realized Justin Herbert's out. They're going to sit him. The Chargers are kind of mailing it in. Broncos are at home. They win. They get the number 1 seed. They've gone from just a playoff team to the number 1 seed in the AFC. That means it's legit. It's real. How far do the Broncos go in the playoffs? Taking into account they win Sunday, I think we expect that. They win, number 1 seed. How far do they go? I got people on the text line saying it is they are going to the Super Bowl. There's numerous texts to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't see it, Nate. And I wouldn't be shocked if they got to the Super Bowl by any means.
You wouldn't be shocked?
No, I would not be shocked. Obviously, as a number 1 seed, only having to win 2 home games, you'd be crazy to be shocked by that. But you watch the games intently as I do. For the last 10 weeks or so, have they looked like world beaters in any of these games? Maybe the Packer game at moments during it. I would give you that. But the 2 Raider games, they didn't look special in either one.
You got to start putting this all together. They've beaten the Eagles. They've beaten the Texans. They've beaten the Packers. They've beaten... Okay.
It's not just about beating teams, Nate. And sometimes you need to take control of the game and the season.
Which nobody does in the NFL. Nobody has.
I don't think that's true. I think there are plenty of teams that do it. They don't do it consistently, right? My problem with the Broncos, Nate, is that you can't win every game in the playoffs like that. You can't win every game 2017, 23-20, 17-16. Why? Because sometimes the ball just bounces in the wrong... Football is an oblong ball, right? Sometimes it just bounces in the wrong direction. And if you play every one of those games very, very tight, something is going to go against you. And I haven't seen I've seen a very good team. No, don't get me wrong. I am not knocking the Broncos as a bad team. What I'd be concerned about is that they don't dominate their competition. And the team that I think that they will end up playing in their first game in the playoffs, that divisional round game, I think they might end up playing the Bills in that game, and I'd be very worried about a very motivated Josh Allen.
Okay, so right now the Pats are the 2 seed, the Bills are the 7. So you're telling me the Bills might be upsetting all the way?
No, what I'm telling you is that I think the Bills will end up being the 6th seed, the Chargers will be the 7. Okay. And that's what will end up happening is the Chargers will lose to the Patriots, and then it will be that the Bills go play Denver in that second week after having beaten most likely Jacksonville. And I think that would be a very difficult game for Denver coming off of 2 weeks off.
So you're already saying, I asked you how far the Broncos are going to go. That's our question of the day on the Nate Brown Show tonight. Broncos get the number 1 seed if they win Sunday. How far do they go? And Rob Kagron's saying They could be out in their first game. That would be the divisional round. That would be the second round. First game in Denver, and they're out. That's what you're saying.
That happened, I want to say, 10-something years ago, somewhere around the time that they won the Super Bowl. Obviously not that year. Either the year before or the year after. If you remember this game, I was at the game. That's how I remember it. Very, very cold January day where Andrew Luck and the Colts came in and dominated the Denver Broncos, who were waiting there in that divisional round game. I could see something like that happening, is my point.
Okay. I have not made my voice clear on this yet because I'm still looking at this going, we could be the number 1 seed. And it's still very surprising. You have to say, the Broncos had the number 1 seed. Very surprising. Huge story. Huge story.
It's a big story, but they were trending in the right direction last year, right? They went from not making the playoffs to making the playoffs.
Yeah, and bounced on the road. No, I mean, to the number 1 seed now?
Yeah, it's a big story. There's no doubt about that. And the fact of the matter is that they have finally gotten the division back for the first time in, 10 years?
Yeah.
So that part to me is really consequential. The number 1 seed, no doubt about it. I mean, the fact that you can give yourself an opportunity to just win 2 home games and go to the Super Bowl, that's your best path forward. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, so on the Nate Brown Show text line, if you want in, how far do the Broncos go? We want your objective opinion. I'm a Broncos homer. Rob's kind of a Broncos hater, kind of. Not sure why, but it could be because he does this show with me. Even though I
wouldn't say hater. I'm just trying to give my honest, unvarnished opinion.
Do you believe that Bo Nix, some listener texted in and said, Nate, I don't think the Broncos make it very far, especially not to the Super Bowl. Bo Nix just isn't there yet. You got to remember who's been there. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and it's like, well, yeah, but so did Joe Burrow. I mean,
sure.
When he was young.
Yeah, and I think he can be young and still get to the Super Bowl. The way I compare it is, how many guys do I trust who are quarterbacking playoff teams more than I trust Bo Nix? And I would say he's somewhere middle of the pack, right? I don't think he's...
Where's Trevor Lawrence?
Well, I would say he's middle of the pack too, right? It's not a guy that I necessarily
CJ Stroud?
trust. I trust Stroud probably a little more than Nix.
What?
I certainly trust Josh Allen more than Nix.
You were good for a while.
I think May and Nix are about at the same level. I think you'd have to be fair about that. And I think Herbert, you would probably trust Justin Herbert a little bit more than Bo Nix.
I don't trust Justin Herbert. I don't trust CJ Stroud.
Why not?
These guys are going to be watching games here in a couple of weeks.
They have significant playoff experience. And the fact of the matter is, CJ Stroud has a better defense behind him than Bo Nix does.
What's Justin Herbert ever done? Not much. And CJ Stroud, not much. So
CJ Stroud has won playoff games.
Yeah, one. I think that's about it.
I think he's won more than one. I'd have to go look. He's also did pretty well for Ohio State as well.
I don't worry about that. Listener text coming in. Denver will go to the Super Bowl. We got that one. Broncos all the way to the Super Bowl. Here's one. Broncos will lose in the AFC Championship. Ironically, it will be against Jacksonville.
Yeah, that I don't see. That's probably the one I would say if they played, the Broncos and the Jags played in the championship game, I'd have a hard time believing that Jacksonville goes into Denver twice in like a 4 or 5 week period and
I
wins.
wouldn't be worried about that. I watched that whole game, the Jacksonville game 2 weeks ago. I didn't like how that game went. Jacksonville was really confident, really confident.
But you're not going to learn from those mistakes. It's very tough for a team to go into the same building twice in a year and beat that opposing team. Very difficult.
I did not like that game. Listener text coming in. Broncos lose in the Super Bowl to Seattle. He's already put the Seattle Seahawks in there. That leads us to our next question tonight. Who is your top team in the NFC, Rob? You can't get over your hatred for Sam Darnold, and the Seahawks are on the verge of getting the number 1 seed.
They're not going to get the number 1 seed.
They're not.
And I would say this, if the Broncos played Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl, I'd bet the farm, your farm, Carney's farm, any farms of listeners that we know that Darnold would lose.
Well, give me a break here. I got to set this up for the listeners. I wanted to know how far you're going to take the Broncos. You say not very far. Legitimately, you're saying not very far.
I think there are some flaws in that team. I wouldn't be shocked if they got to the Super Bowl by any means, but I think they're going to get tripped up, and probably early on.
Okay, so now I ask you, who's your top team in the NFC right now? And you're in a rock and a hard place. You know what that is, right? Where Brock Purdy, who you don't like, he's just an average Joe, is going against Sam Darnold, who you hate, and that's for the number 1 seed this week.
Yeah.
So who's better?
I don't dislike Purdy as much as you're giving me credit for. I think Purdy has been a pretty good game manager, and I think last night he was pretty good as well.
42 points.
You're playing a home game against Seattle. Yeah, I don't understand. We'll probably get into this later in the week, but actually we probably won't because of the holidays. But 1.5 point spread for San Francisco at home? Why? What am I missing? How are the 49ers not just as good of a team, if not better, than the Seattle Seahawks? And they're playing a home game.
You may want to take a look at that Seattle defense. The Seattle defense, pretty good last time I checked. You may want to look at the San Francisco defense.
Okay, and I agree. San Francisco's defense did not look good last night at all. Seattle's defense, if I remember correctly, did give up 30 points pretty early on in the game to the Rams. If not for a big miraculous comeback, they wouldn't have won that game. They gave up 30 points to the Rams. Right? I don't want to hear about this defense being so special when my boys, Matt Stafford and Sean McVay, ran up and down the field against them.
I don't know what it is. In your world, you would want the Rams, who play tonight. The Rams they have a way outside shot at the number 1 seed, I think. Or it's just gone. It might be gone completely.
I think it's gone.
So it's either San Francisco or Seattle. Oh, yeah, that was last night before the game. So Rams are going to be in the playoffs, but you love the Rams. You put them up here, and you disregard Seattle, who's on the verge. They just need to win.
I disregard Sam Darnold, who has never won a big game in his life.
You told me he would not win in the playoffs. You told me that. He would not win a playoff game.
And I still don't think he's going to win a playoff game.
He's already going to win one because
why is he already going to win one?
They're going to get a bye. I'm going to give him that win.
Okay.
That's a bye. That's a win.
And who may they have to play in that game? Let's think about this. If the Packers upset the Bears, they'd have to play Jordan Love and the Packers. I would give the Packers an advantage in that game. If they
Packers look rough.
If the Rams go in and beat Chicago or Philly, depending on who they play in that first round, they'd have to go beat Stafford and the Rams again. I mean, you're making it like Sam Darnold is guaranteed to win a game. I'll tell you right now, if he plays Stafford and the Rams in that second game, and I hope to God, if you're listening to me right now, that they do, there is no chance Sam Darnold is beating Stafford. Because the last time they played in a playoff game, he looked, as in your words, like dog biscuits.
Yeah. You're just so disrespectful of Sam Darnold, and you ruined the Viking season last year. They were enjoying it, and you just killed them, and that led into this year, and now you still won't let Sam go, and he's got the Seahawks back. He must be pretty good, is all I'm saying. Must be pretty good.
He's a good... I've learned this now, and I will go back on some of my words. He's a above average, regular season quarterback when he has weapons and a defense behind him.
Oh, all right.
In a playoff game, you cannot tell me with a straight face, Nate Brown, that you trust that guy to win big playoff games.
I think Seattle's pretty good. I think the Rams are good.
If Seattle were the number 1 seed, if they end up winning in San Francisco, and I don't think they will, but if they did, would they be the odds-on, clear-cut favorite to get to the Super Bowl from the NFC?
No.
No, that's all you need to know. That's because no one trusts. If they are the number 1 seed, they only have 2 home games to win, and they're not the odds-on, clear-cut favorite. It's because no one trusts that bum Sam Darnold.
And nobody will make the Broncos the favorite either. Nobody will make the Broncos the favorite either.
Because I think they have something to prove as well. When you have quarterbacks who have been there over a number of years, even if they are on the road, we've watched plenty of road teams get to the Super Bowl winning in hostile, difficult environments.
That is true. Seattle is a tough place to play. They could get a first-round bye. It's going to be interesting. Rob's going to be watching this game this Saturday. He's going to be watching Brock Purdy against Sam Darnold, and his head's going to be spinning. He's not going to know which quarterback to throw into the bus next week. Coming right back, speaking of QBs, is Rob Kagron's team in a bad spot? They are. We'll explain next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
This holiday season, Renewal by Andersen wants to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our valued customers. Thank you for choosing us to be part of your home. Whether you're peeking out your window to watch the snow or welcoming friends through your front door, we're honored to be part of your story, sending warm wishes to you and your loved ones in the hope that 2026 brings you health and happiness. From everyone at Renewal by Andersen, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Are there as many kinds of vehicles as there are kinds of people? We think so. At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we help all kinds of people come together with all kinds of vehicles. With loans made to fit everyone and every ride.
City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Fox Sports Radio. It is the Nate Brown Show, powered by Black Hills Federal Credit Union, my family's banking partner. I got to tell you, best choice we've made from the Black Hills to Sioux Falls, 18 locations. They're right there for you, from great loans on maybe your home improvements, vehicles. They've got it all, personal or business. BHFCU.com. Make the switch. I'm glad I did. Become a member. It's easy to do. BHFCU.com. Really easy to get started. Become a member at Black Hills Federal Credit Union. All right, a Reaction Monday on the Nate Brown Show. Rob Kegron's in studio, so we got to go down this road. And a listener actually texted this in, I think a couple of weeks ago. I lose track of time. A couple of weeks ago, a listener texted in and said, hey, I'd love to hear from Rob Kegron. He's a big New York Giants fan. It's the only time I get to hear about the Giants in my life, he said. No, he didn't say that. But he said, I want to know what he thinks about the Giants at quarterback in the draft. And you said, well, it's early. Let's not go there. It's early. It's starting to come here, the time. The time is starting to come because Jackson Dart, I'm not so sure. I told you I didn't love him. And he's not looking good. He's just not. You have to admit it. The Giants are up there towards the top of the draft, and you're going to just roll with Jackson Dart?
You have to. You drafted the guy. You went up to the first round to get him. He's had a fractured season in lots of ways. One in terms of injuries, the other in terms of a coach getting fired mid-season. He lost his number one receiver. He lost a rookie phenom running back. Yeah, he struggled down the stretch, although yesterday he was good against the lowly Raiders, of course. How do you not give that guy another opportunity? This is like the Nate Brown special now, huh? Let's yank guys before they even complete a full season. It's like, all right, out the door.
This has been it's been a rough year for him. I mean,
no, he's been up and that's not fair. That's not a fair assessment. He's been up and down. He's had very good moments and very bad moments. I'll give you that. He's been inconsistent. But again, the franchise the team is a bit of a mess.
Could you see him going and playing the Steelers yesterday and winning like Shedeur Sanders?
Yes.
I couldn't see it.
Of course I could have.
No.
The Steelers looked awful yesterday. Are you kidding? The Steelers had no offense at all yesterday.
The Browns' defense is good, and Shedeur had enough, and they got it done. I couldn't see that.
Why couldn't Dart run around a little bit against those Steelers and find a way to keep his team in the game and win the game? Absolutely. Do I think Dart is the next best thing? No, I'm not crazy. But to say that... No, well, I don't know. The jury's still out, right there. We have to give this guy, first of all, but we got to find a coach.
Bo Nix rookie season, really improvement. I mean, I wasn't a believer, and then he turned it up. Jackson Dart, can't say it.
What did Bo Nix have last year, though? Stability of a big-time coach. Whether you like him or not, you're going to have to admit at some point, if you haven't already on this radio program, that he's a big-time coach.
Well, I think he's a good coach.
You are nuts. You talking about being me a Sam Darnold hater. You're a Sean Payton Sparky hater.
He's a good coach.
He had stability with the coach. He had stability with his defense. He didn't have the greatest weapons around him by any means, but you're right. He did trend upwards as the season went on. I will completely agree with you there. Dart hasn't had that this year. I got to give him a year with some stability at coach, with a little bit better of a defense, Malik Neighbors back, hopefully Scatterboo back. I got to give him a full season start. He'll be number one QB coming out of preseason. It's not as if we're going to give Russell Wilson 3 games or some other backup. And again, I'm not 100% saying he's the guy long term, but I am not ready to give him the hook at this point.
Okay, so you're not going to even think about that. You don't think you're in a bad spot. You're not going to draft another quarterback kind of high to see if you've got a shot here?
I think drafting a quarterback high, short of your quarterback is near the end of his career, right? A la Favre and Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. Green Bay has done this very well over the last 30-plus years.
Yeah.
Short of that, drafting a quarterback high when you already have a guy who should be your number one is asking for a problem. Because what are you telling your team? You're not sure, right? Now, you want to draft a quarterback, a project quarterback in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. I don't have a problem with that. But anything higher than that is crazy. And if we were going to do that, the worst thing we could have done was win the game yesterday against the Raiders. So beating them, we're likely not going to have the number one pick. I guess it's possible that the Raiders could beat Kansas City, and we certainly should lose to Dallas.
They probably will.
If that happens, then we'd still have the number one pick. But this is way too early for this because the draft is not for like 4 months. But who is that college quarterback that we've watched over the last few months that we say, that's him, he's the next guy?
This draft class probably doesn't look great. I don't think it looks great. However, more to the point, I don't believe Jackson Dart's going to be your savior, and you're just going to be on this show for I don't know how long, and it's going to be a long time. Jackson's going to struggle. If he couldn't get it done at Ole Miss, he isn't going to get it done at New York. That's plain and simple.
That is a terrible comparison,
No, that's
Nate.
plain and simple. I said he couldn't beat Florida. He couldn't beat Florida. How do we expect him to come in here and lead the Giants?
Ole Miss, first of all, he's handled the New York media and the New York fans very, very well throughout the whole first season. He has not cowered in any way. Has he had his struggles on the field? Yes, but the team is a mess. Do we give the kid, do we look at his upside, the way he can run the ball, the way that he's played? He did beat the Philadelphia Eagles, for gosh sake. I mean, he beat them. That says something that the guy can play in a big-time game. For you to say for sure he's not the guy, there's no way. There's way too premature to say that.
I'm going to turn this into a question of the day. Who would you believe in more? Because you're giving them shots, both of them. J.J. McCarthy and Jackson Dart. You believe both of them need the next full year, and they're both going to get it, by the way. The Vikes aren't going to change up. Who's going to have a better trajectory now?
Dart. Absolutely Dart.
McCarthy. The Vikings are way better. They're way better than the Giants.
Yep. I mean, let's be fair, though. He hasn't won the last couple games, right? They've won, but it's been, thanks to Max Brosmer that's found a way to win games. He hasn't? I mean, he's been decent enough in the games.
He was bad against the Lions, and the defense won it.
On the game, though, I mean, J.J. McCarthy has not, let's be fair, he's not on the field enough, right? I worry that this guy is he's just one of these guys who just gets hurt all the time.
Jackson Dart over J.J.
I'm not saying by leaps and bounds, but if you said to me, I got your whole team ready to go, and I'm going to give you a choice between these two guys for the next 5 to 10 years, I'm not sure that either of them is going to be a success, but who has the higher ceiling? Jackson Dart, not J.J. McCarthy.
Okay, so you're still buying Jackson Dart a little bit. You're buying Jackson a little bit.
Enough to think that I got to at least have a puncher's chance to win some games with him.
Timeout on the Nate Brown Show. Speaking of a quarterback, this is an interesting one. He's a South Dakota kid, and he finally has mentioned, I may be looking at transferring. He's had conversations. Where could he end up? We'll discuss.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Could there be a better name? Auto Value Parts Stores. They aren't just about air fresheners or fuzzy dice. Auto Value Parts Stores are all about parts, auto parts, and advice. Pros who know auto parts with tons of tips when you need them the most. You want real value? Don't go to a place with a cute name. Go to Auto Value. Could there be a better name? I didn't think so. Your Auto Value Parts Store. We've got the parts, we've got the smarts.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
Ring in the new year at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort, where the payouts don't stop at midnight. Kick things off with the New Year's Eve Cash Bash, where you could win a share of $51,000 in cash and prizes. Plus, all Cadillac Club members can take advantage of the $3 million preload, giving you more value before the ball drops. And poker players get a shot at $8,000 in cash during their New Year's Eve poker giveaway. Make it a new year worth celebrating at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. How will your night play out?
Hi, I'm Tim Wrench, and I'm seeking personal injury cases. If you've been injured because someone else did something wrong, call me up. I'm a trial lawyer. I've tried criminal and civil cases for decades, and I can use all of that experience to help you. I also know this, that when insurance companies know that you're represented by a trial lawyer, they take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
This isn't just the sound of a legendary Brunswick pool table. It's the sound of families about to make memories together. And while this may sound like the hum of a spa, listen closely, and you'll hear backyard fun for years to come. So while Splash City's guarantee of quality sure sounds good, we know quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger?
Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in Your Sports, Your Show. We're on tonight and tomorrow at South Dakota Sports Talk Show Live, Fox Sports Radio, KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome in South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Rob Kegron's in studio live. A Reaction Monday with Rob, wrapping up 2025. The Nate Brown Show is built by Blackburn Foundation Repair. They remind you it's wintertime. We get it. You need to keep your foundation secure, your crawl space dry, your air clean. They do it all. Radon testing and all of it. Stronger structures, moisture and mold prevention. Go to blackburnrepair.com. If your home's having some tough times in certain ways, go and get the fix from the certified team in South Dakota since 1992. blackburnrepair.com. Take your home off the injured list. Protecting homes, protecting families in 2026. blackburnrepair.com. Well, this is interesting. I've had him on the show numerous times, followed his career in high school here in South Dakota, the Pierre Governors quarterback, one of the all-time great quarterbacks of South Dakota high school history, Lincoln Kienholz. Made that run at Pierre and won all those state championships. Then he gets the offer from Washington. This is how his career went. Kalen DeBoer was out there at Washington. You remember the connection there. He's going to go Washington. He goes to Ohio State instead. Lincoln Kienholz has been battling at Ohio State. This is quarterback U, and he can't get the number 1 spot. They gave him a shot this year. He gets beat out by Julian Sayin, who had a big year at Ohio State. So Lincoln, we've always said, Rob, it's like this is the day of transferring. I mean, Lincoln's lost out a couple of years. He's a redshirt sophomore. Why wouldn't he just transfer somewhere? He could, be a starter somewhere, and he stuck it out. He was interviewed today as Ohio State prepares for the college football playoff, and he said he has had conversations with Ryan Day and the Ohio State staff about his future. And he left it with, I want to make it to the NFL, and eventually I need to play. So you got to play to get to the NFL. People have said he's thinking about transferring. I'll start there. I'd be surprised if that's his goal to get to the next level. Julian Sayin's just a freshman. So I don't think you're going to bust through at Ohio State. I'm transferring if I'm Lincoln.
To me, it's a no-doubter, Nate. Like, how does he not transfer? Sayin is a Heisman Trophy finalist, right?
First year.
You're not going to get – and you only have 2 years of eligibility left. We could say short of Sayin getting hurt, he has no chance at the number 1 spot next year, right? Like, there's no chance that the Heisman Trophy finalist is going to go from number 1 QB at Ohio State to the backup, right? So that's out. So if you really want, I think even if your aspiration wasn't to go to the NFL, don't you want to start games? And aren't there enough programs that would give a kid like this a chance to play? I mean, he's played in a number of games at Ohio State.
Yeah, bowl game.
Right? And he hasn't looked. He hasn't looked like a deer in the headlights. Let's say that. From all reports, he had a very good camp, right? And he wasn't that far behind Sayin. You have to go somewhere else where you're going to get a legit shot at the number 1 QB spot on that team, and he does not have a legit spot with Ohio State.
National college football writer John Bryce was on tonight, and he said he has heard Lincoln Kienholz would command $1 million or more right now.
And that's unbelievable for a guy who's not a starting quarterback, because the trend that we've seen is that guys who have started for at least a year, sometimes 2 years, or in a case like Gronowski, from an FCS,
you could
number of years, and they've already shown that they can start week in and week out. We haven't seen that from Lincoln. although we've seen spurts, moments, just blips. And the fact that he's going to get $1 million, I think, shows what kind of upside that he has, and I think he's going to get a real shot somewhere.
Okay, so I'm going to start throwing stuff out. John Bryce said one of the first ones you could think about, close by. They recruited him out of high school, Nebraska. Dylan Raiola's leaving. They have this kid, TJ Lateef. So you Husker fans, I know they think, well, Lateef's he's a 4-star guy. He's a good player. Would you take Lincoln Kienholz in Nebraska? Would you take that shot?
If I were Nebraska, I would absolutely take it.
You would?
If I were Lincoln, I'm not sure that I would.
Huh?
Right? That team, well, I think you got to go to a spot where
Dana Holgerson's down there. I mean, come on.
But don't you need to go to a spot where you have the edge going in right away to be the number one?
I think I would. I mean, I don't think you want to be competing like he was at Ohio State. So at Nebraska, yeah, you'd probably have to compete with Lateef.
And Lateef played a few games at the end of the season, right? So he's already kind of in that mold. I would be a little concerned if I were Lincoln going to a spot like that where they see an upside of another guy and you're going to have to beat him out. And let's just say you don't. Or let's say that it's really close and they say, we're going to stick with the guy who was here last year. Well, you've just given up another year of eligibility. I wouldn't go to a place like that if I were him.
I don't know all the places, you look through the list, who's looking for a starter. Like, there's no competition. But people have thrown out Nebraska, Wisconsin with Luke Fickell. You could fit in there.
Yeah.
Washington, his original commitment, even though DeBoer's gone. Then maybe you're thinking, well, maybe he has to go to a lower tier Power 4 or a group of 6. And where do you end up? Iowa State has Jimmy Rogers, South Dakota State guy. Iowa State just locked Beck. So I don't know where Lincoln Kienholz ends up, but you'd take him at Nebraska. Maybe he's that much better than Lateef. I don't know.
Well, I think you'd have if I were the coach, I'd be looking at, I got real competition going into spring practice, into the summer, with two guys who I think either of them could be the starter. There'd be no reason for me not to do that at a place like Nebraska. I want two guys who have real potential to be the starting quarterback.
Okay, so if you're picking Nebraska, Washington, Wisconsin, if you're Lincoln,
I would go to Washington. I think Washington is on the up. I think he's a big-time coach, the guy who came from Arizona. I think his name is Fish.
Yep.
I think that and Washington has shown over the last, 5 to 10 years that they are in the national spotlight. Wisconsin has not done that in a very long time. Nebraska, while it's on the up, I don't know that I'm going to start right away. I would go to Washington.
Coming right back, we're going to award our NFL Coach of the Year. This is a really tough one this year, I think. NFL Coach of the Year as we wrap up the show next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Illuminate your home with help from Menards. Now is the time to update your light fixtures and find your style with Patriot Lighting. Our Josca collection has a variety of lights, and they're all on sale, ready to take home today. Don't wait to finish your projects. Hurry in and pick up a Josca vanity light for $99.99 through December 31st. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Are you searching for your next truck or SUV? At Spearfish Motors, we've got a huge selection of pre-owned trucks, including very clean heavy-duty diesels and light-duty pickups in every price range. Need an SUV? We've got a great selection, every size, every budget, and all priced below market. Locally sourced, locally trusted, and backed by the team you know. Click, call, or come by Spearfish Motors today or shop online at spearfishmotors.com.
The playoffs are coming fast. For the best way to watch postseason football, come to Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort and grab a seat in the BetMGM Sportsbook. The playoff package is now available. Reserve today and get $20 in free play, as well as a guaranteed seat at the hottest sportsbook in town. Watch your favorite matchups on wall-to-wall television arrays with comfortable and spacious seating. And grab a drink or bite to eat from Patio Neal's while you watch. Let us host your playoff party this year at the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort in Deadwood. Learn more at tinlizzy.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly clear tonight with a low of 24. Winds out of the west 5 to 10 miles per hour. Daytime highs approaching 51. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Mainly clear skies. Tomorrow night, lows level off around 31. Temperatures well above average Wednesday and Thursday with highs from the low 50s to the mid 50s. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 30.
Life changes fast. Starting a business, getting married, buying a house, growing your family. Have you taken steps to protect your family's financial future? Don't let life insurance be the thing that slides. It can help your family during difficult times. Lee Cruz with New York Life Insurance Company can help you get started. He's local and will help you find the right policy to fit your needs and budget. You can Google Lee Cruz New York Life or call 605-360-8804. That's Lee Cruz New York Life. Protect your family.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear, Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
All right, wrapping up the Monday show with Rob Kegron live in studio. If you missed some of the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We'll put it up tonight. Get it on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. If you missed parts of the show on your drive home, just search The Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcasts, and you've got this show every guest. We talked to John Bryce, college football writer, Henry McKenna, NFL writer, Fox Sports, Sam Herder, FCS senior analyst, and Rob Kegron in on a Reaction Monday. A couple of minutes before we go on Fox Sports Radio, who should win the NFL Coach of the Year? I will serve it up to you. There's a lot of candidates. Who would you give it to? Coach of the Year?
To me, I agree with you. There are a lot of candidates. I think you have to look at guys like Vrabel. I think you have to look at guys like Liam Cohen in Jacksonville. I think, what's the guy's name in Seattle? I always get these guys confused. McDonald.
Yep.
I think you got to look at him for sure, what he's done. It comes down to two guys for me. And it's going to sound weird, but one of them to me is blatantly obvious, and it's Ben Johnson with Chicago, going from worst to first in the NFC North in a very difficult division. I think he's done an incredible job there. The other one, though, and I've kind of gone back and forth on this, is DeMeco Ryans. And you're going to say, well, they might not even win their division. They were 0-3, and 0-3 teams don't make the playoffs. And they've won 8 in a row, and his defense is the best in the NFL. I think he deserves a really, really hard look. And he won 3 games with Davis Mills as the starter when Stroud was out. I think DeMeco has done an excellent, excellent job with that team, bouncing them back this year. And I think Coach of the Year, a lot of it is that, like dealing with the adversity. But to me, does it come down to, I probably got to take Ben Johnson.
You got to take Ben Johnson, okay? And I haven't heard DeMeco Ryans up for it much.
Which makes no sense to me. I mean, they were 0-3 team. They've won 8 in a row. They're 11 wins. They're guaranteed a playoff spot, and they won 3 games with Davis Mills as the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm in there with Ben Johnson. I was thinking about him. I'm going to go a little different because they still had to get through a tough team, and I think they're the 2 seed. I think they're really good, and I didn't see it coming. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm surprised you didn't choose Mike Vrabel. That's my choice. Vrabel and the Pats. That's a good team.
I cannot
Easy schedule.
Yep.
But I'm going to give it to Mike Vrabel. You're going Ben Johnson. Very similar because Patriots were bad.
Yep.
Bears were bad. Both going to win the division. And then you think about it. I think it was. I know the Bears had a road there against the NFC North, but I felt the Lions went down, the Packers went down. The Bills were still there, and the Patriots are going to get past the Bills for the first time in a long time. It was kind of a dynasty there in the AFC. So I'm going to give it to Mike Vrabel. Okay, last one. Alabama, Indiana. Last one. New Year's college football playoff. Alabama takes on Indiana. Who wins it?
Well, the spread is 7. Alabama's getting 7, so I'm going to lay that. I'm going to take the 7. I'm going to take the 7. Alabama.
Okay.
I think Bama beats Indiana. I think it upsets them. I think Tabor goes on to another game.
The Rob Kegron special going into the break. Happy New Year for Rob Kegron. It's Nate Brown, the Nate Brown Show podcast going up right now. See you tomorrow.
Inheritance, romance, and investment scams continue to plague South Dakotans with high dollar amount losses.